Hey, sports fans, Rich Flaherty here with your week 2 highlight show from TFL. Let's go to the headlines. Headline number 1, Hang explodes with 121 points to lead all scorers in week 1. The Lollipop Guild scores over 100 for the second week in a row, and they keep their total points lead and it actually extended over 25 points. Girls on the beach. They slip past the hapless halfway house to move to 2 and 0. That means we only have those two and 0 teams. We have the Lollipop Guild and Girls on the Beach who are 2 and 0. Flip side of that, we have 2 0 and 2 teams that you'll hear about. But the amazing thing is we have 8 1 and 1 teams after week 1. Is that historic? Well, we'll find out in our preview show later this week. We had big bounce backs from the Fat, Huckleberry, and ED, who all underperformed in week 1 and overperformed in week 2, and all of them moved to 1 and 1. We have Venus, who proclaims, "My season is over. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. I have had to have more points scored against me than anyone ever." Not. We'll cover that on our preview show or later this week also. We did have unfortunately our first round pick go down to injury and out for the season with Chubb. Ugh, that was an ugly picture. Tough loss for Cher, as they already lost Aaron Rodgers in week 1, and now they've lost it for the year, and now they've lost a second key player in week 2. So Cher's in trouble right now. And then the rumor is, we haven't confirmed it. We tried to get an interview or at least a comment from owner Sean Ryan, but our understanding is that the halfway house has already started purchasing tickets for their team to the Toilet Bowl location already after week 2. Can't confirm that, but that's what we've heard. All right, so let's go to game number 1. Game number 1 was our game of the week. It was the 1 and 0 G-Men versus the 1 and 0 Lollipop Guild. Both lines looked at this as a somewhat easy victory for actually the CBS had it as easy victory for G-Men. Really, TFL thought it was a much closer contest, but still gave the edge to G-Men. Well, unfortunately for G-Men, they followed their namesake from last week and just didn't even show up, despite getting 22 points from Allen, which was a big jump up from week 1, and 14 from CeeDee Lamb. They only scored 68 points total and really had no help from their bench that could have come in to help them. Lollipop Guild on the other side had another 100-point week, 106 this week, with double-digit scoring from 5 of their 6 individual players, plus their kicker. The Lollipop Guild's team was so strong this week that if you took the 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers on their bench that played this week, those 5 players scored 78 points and would have beaten at least four of the team, 5 of the teams, and tied the 6th team just on their bench players. And that's without having a quarterback on the bench. So Lollipop Guild had a big week overall. And they pull out this 106-68 victory. They moved to 2 and 0, and G-Men dropped to 1 and 1. Game number 2 was one of those bounce back teams. They fat going against No Way in Hell Hall, who Smoke and Mirrors won in week 1, only because of the fact that they were playing a halfway house probably. But No Way in Hell Hall didn't show up this week as well. Well, technically they did because they scored about the same amount of points, but it wasn't enough to beat the Fat, who got a big week from Kirk Cousins with 28 points, and then double-digit scoring from 2 other positions, and they pull out the 99-78 upset victory because both lines had this as a No Way in Hell Hall victory. So 99-78, leaving both these teams at 1 and 1. Game number 3 was the poor Louisville Share team going against another one of our bounce back teams, the Huckleberries. Huckleberries got 26 points. Actually, they got 42 points total between their 2 B. Robinsons. So again, I'm loving this B. Robinson duo. 42 points from the 2 of them. They got 15 points from Burrows in another down week, but and then they did get 10 points from Montgomery before he went down. But the key thing was the 26 points that they got from the Steelers last night in a massive defensive effort. And they pull out the 115-74 victory over Louisville Share as both teams move to 1-1. Game number 4 was our third bounce back team. Wasn't ED our lowest scoring team last week? I think that's correct. I could go back and look, but I think that's correct. Well, they weren't the lowest scoring team this week. This week, they were the third highest scoring team, getting 20 points or more from 4 of their players, and easily blowing away the very, very confusing MVH team who won last week but only scored 72 this week. ED wins 110-72, and both of those teams go to 1-1. Game number 5 was that lowly halfway house team against the 1-0 Girls on the Beach powerhouse. Well, the powerhouse didn't show up, but luckily for them, the halfway house showed up as best as they could. As Girls on the Beach only scored 77 points, got decent digit scoring from 4 spots, but still didn't get anything from Josh Jacobs. And that's a tough loss with or tough first 2 weeks for Josh Jacobs, but they did get another big week from the Cowboys defense, which they needed to pull out this victory, and they win 77-63. Halfway House moves to 0-2, while Girls on the Beach stays in at 2-0. And then our last game was Hang versus Venus. You have the powerhouse Hang versus the whiny little girl Venus. And that's pretty much how it went. As Venus, although I got to give them a little credit, they did score decently compared to a lot of other teams. Let's see, they actually would have beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the other teams in the league with their 84 points that they scored, but they just didn't have enough to compete with Hang. As Hang got double-digit scoring from 4 of their 6 individual players, plus from their kicker and their Buccaneers defense, as they score that 121 and they easily win 121-84. Hang moves to 1-1. Venus sits at 0-2, and since their season's over, we actually probably just need to stop talking about them anyway. So there you go. There's our week 2 headlines and our results. Hope you enjoyed it. Tune in later this week and for our preview show, where, as we said, we'll cover some of these important topics that are out there that have been raised. And we'll see you on Thursday. See you later. Bye-bye.